Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Don't delay, be patient with your Filipina. That's our topic tonight. A wise man is superior to any insults which can be put upon him, and his best reply to unseemly behavior is patience and moderation. This is good advice for anyone wanting a good marriage to a Filipina, and is today's topic, patience. Subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea for relationship help for foreigners seeking or who already have a Filipina. Sharing videos will help other men to find love beyond the sea. How to communicate with your Filipina wife is a live stream I will link for you, and this topic today is a viewer request. In the comment section you can let me know of other times that you know of that could test somebody's patience with his Filipina. Patience, here are just some quotes. Patience is not just about waiting for something, it's about how you wait or your attitude while waiting. And this is true. I can wait for my wife to talk to me about something or to apologize or to end Tampo, but I need to get off her case and let her process her thoughts. I think we all need others to be patient with us too, and I hope my wife can say that I am patient with her. It is certainly something that will continue to be an ongoing process. Never make your most important decisions when you're in your worst moods. Wait, be patient. The storm will pass, the spring will come. If I am in a sour mood over one of the many times in a marriage that will test my patience, I am more likely to make things worse than to make things better. Simply leaving the house and going for a walk can allow me to collect my thoughts and calm down, and the exercise can only help too. Wanting issues to disappear right away will drive you crazy, and marrying a Filipina from a different culture, especially a much younger woman, is going to result in situations you've not encountered before. Sometimes things aren't clear right away. That's where you need to be patient and persevere and see where things lead. That's another piece of good advice. In time, you might get clarity and clarification from your Filipina, who perhaps from shyness or maybe culture is less likely to speak up than someone from a Western country. It is easier to find men who will volunteer to die than to find those who are willing to endure pain with patience. Filipinas make great wives, but they're still human and susceptible to common temptations and emotions as any other woman. Since you likely haven't known your Filipina very long, due to the distance, it may take longer than normal to really get to know her, but that's okay. You'll just need to exercise patience and not rush the discovery process. And having said that, let's get more specific. Here's how you can be impatient with your Filipina. This is one, I'm going to do a series here on ways to not communicate with your Filipina. And one of them is by being impatient. Not only can it be a nuisance to hear words of impatience, but it can get personal and cause wounds. When you married a Filipina, if you are a foreigner, you may be dealing with a large age gap. You are dealing with a different culture also, and probably with a woman whose first language isn't even English. If she has immigrated, then she lives what must seem like a million miles away from her family. She will be doing her best to acclimate to your country, but if her foreigner husband is going to assume the challenges will be the same as with a same country relationship, then he is likely to be unpleasantly surprised. There are situations that will cause him to become impatient. For example, the age gap and intimacy. Be careful if you have a large age gap that you don't have unrealistic expectations of her. That would cause you to say some things that of losing your patience with her. In some ways, she might not be as mature. In other ways, she might be more mature than her husband. It is possible she will want to get out of the house more than he will, and that he may want to. So I think it's best to work something out so that she doesn't feel housebound. Something like this could cause resentment. She might ask if you can go to a movie or a play or some kind of social event, and you might say something like, "Not again, you know I don't like to do that," or "We just did something, last week." Knowing as much as you can before marriage can help mitigate the chance of losing patience with her. So talking about expectations before marriage is important. I have a video about that called Be Realistic of Filipina Marriage Expectations. With a very long distance relationship, you really can't afford to be shy or uncomfortable talking about your future together, potential future with your Filipina. There could be some harsh words spoken in the sexual area if the foreigner is expecting sex every day with his younger wife. Sex isn't usually on the minds of a woman as often it is with men, and there may be friction in that area, probably will be somewhere along the line. Learning to not say something harsh out of impatience is important. But I want it now is not a good idea. But you're a young woman when she isn't feeling like it might be true, but I recommend having a heart-to-heart talk with your Filipina wife about the frequency and needs you both have. I think certain times of the month are more conducive for her than others. That's right, talk about sex before you get married. I don't believe in sex before marriage, but there's no reason to avoid talking about it if you plan on getting married. Imagine the frustration and hurtful words that can result in having completely different sex drives, outlooks, and expectations after you've married. In our case, I took the lead in letting her know that sex was important to me. I think it's important to most everybody in a marriage, and along with companionship and trust, and that the Bible said in 1 Corinthians 7 that the husband does not have power over his own body, but the wife does, and the wife does not have power over her own body, but the husband does. So sex is for the other person. Let that sink in. That should be the goal. Instead of saying, come on, I'm going to die if I don't get it tonight, or come on, you're going to drive me to another woman if you say no again, why not say something like, all right, hon, but can we please make time to do this tomorrow? You know this is important to me. Or, hon, I think it helps us if we are would be more regular. You know, these are things that we should talk about. Some people scoff at this, but in my opinion, it makes perfect sense to talk to your Filipino wife about the best time and conditions for each of you to be intimate. It's just being logical. It may not sound romantic or spontaneous, but how realistic is spontaneity these days? If the husband and wife are completely different, one is spontaneous and the other is not, it's going to cause some havoc in the bedroom. So, you know, again, this is something they'll have to discuss. If you don't know this by now, you're not going to get it as often as you want it, even with your beautiful Filipino wife. Both of you are going to need patience. It is the usual time and energy robbers like work schedules, fatigue, household chores, basic responsibilities that can wear both of you out. Sometimes you'll get annoyed with each other, and there goes the mood. You should talk about things like this together without threatening, and work on some kind of compromise you both can live with, which will avoid damaging words. Something else that could cause a lack of patience would be unfamiliarity. Not knowing some facts that you wished you knew about her before marriage can result in taking the frustration out on her by saying regretful things. My wife and I got married in only 54 days. And so if I had to do it over again, I might ask some additional questions just to gauge compatibility. As it worked out, my wife and I are both homebodies. We're both perfectly content to come home from work, snuggle up on the couch, watch something on TV, or just recline in bed using our phones. Sometimes we have been able to catch a movie, but sometimes that's just not going to happen. Language could be another area. Depending on the level of English that your Filipina speaks, this could be a source of losing some patience with her. There are some phrases or manner of speaking or expressions that she probably has never even heard of before, but this does not make her stupid. Me trying to speak Tagalog, that would make people think I never went to school before. How she speaks may never become what it may be, or what it could have been if she had grown up in America. But I don't try to change the way my wife speaks. You know, I have grown accustomed to and like the way that she says things. Off the lights being one of my favorites, along with chocolates. I don't try to change that. I know she said off the lights one time, and I don't try to make her sound American. I like the way she talks. Culture, there's another potential one, and again, please leave some comments about other areas that could cause tension, that could cause impatience, and this series here is going to be about how not to communicate with your Filipino wife. But culture, things don't move as fast in the Philippines as it does in the West. Maybe she won't have the same sense of urgency as you do. Perhaps she will refrain from thinking too far ahead or even being on time. She might not understand the value of a dollar like you do. She is going to need some time to adapt to her brand new country so far away from home with a man she likely doesn't know all that well yet. You will have no idea how long it's going to take your Filipino wife to get adjusted to living in your country, and she will likely not change culturally anytime soon or should have to. So please don't be impatient with her and say things that you'll regret. I will continue another time with more ways to not communicate with your love beyond the sea.